That was quick.
What was quick?
Your response.
Oh, yeah, you're back on time again.
I think we're good.
Yeah, we were worried that there might be a delay in the old internet.
But we seem to be fine. So we can go into our show. Yay!
Ba-dum-ba-dum.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Honest to Pod with me, Matthew Ali.
And me, Ashton McAllister.
And after last week's episode, I feel like we hit a real high point. It seemed to be quite an engaged episode with people talking and messaging. I really enjoyed it. So I just want to say thank you very much at the start for everybody who had reached out to us with some comments and listened. And yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, it was actually data-wise the most engaged with episode.
Of course, you said, yeah.
Yeah, it was our most engaged with day because not only did that episode get the most engaged for one day, but it also encouraged other people to listen to other episodes, which then just boosts us up a good bit higher as well, which was interesting to see. So,
I do want to give a shout out there, actually.
Oh, here we go. People asking for shout outs.
Yeah, but this one actually did something. So Phil Hanlon.
Did they earn something?
He shared, he messaged to say that he really enjoyed the episode and thought it was very interesting. And I'd asked him if he wouldn't mind sharing it as a story on his Instagram. And he did. And he just wanted to say, and he said, listen to this podcast and gave a bit of promotion, which was, I thought, really, really wonderful. So thank you very much, Phil.
What was his name?
Philip Hanlon.
Oh, thanks, Phil. That's what I like. I like people who share stuff and
it helps us. It's really, really helpful. It helps us grow. It helps us hopefully get some better sound equipment, like we're saying, and also just really enjoy doing the podcast for that reason. So that is incredible.
Yeah, and we like to know that people enjoy it and are proud of it enough to share on their own social channels.
So, Ashley, how was your week?
Oh, have I had a week?
I know, boy. I don't know, but I assume because every week is a week. But anyway, carry on.
So it's just mainly the weekend. So my boss is away. I've been house sitting. And basically what that means is he's got two little dogs and I would go down and stay at his house and watch the dogs. I don't mind that much because he has a big cinema room and it's awesome. Yeah, literally the big recliner chair, popcorn machine. It's pretty awesome.
Oh my God, what is his job?
He's my boss. He runs my company.
Amazing.
Yeah. So it was, it's pretty cool. He's been away. And they've got this thing, right? They've got like a system set up, a security system set up that whenever something moves, it will sound like a ding dong in the house. So you know that there's somebody outside or something outside that's moving.
Okay.
And it's hooked up to a TV camera or a TV screen so you can see the camera.
Anytime something moves anywhere outside?
Well, it's more, I guess.
But it's just a type of time.
Well, it's a security thing, isn't it? You know, if somebody's about to break in a window, they're not going to ring the doorbell, are they?
Absolutely not.
So anyway, the other night I was getting the dogs getting ready, getting the lights all turned off, and I hear it go. This is about 11:30 at night. I hear it go, and I'm like, what the hell? Who am I expecting this time? Look outside. I don't see any car lights on, so I'm thinking, right, this is getting a bit scarier. And on the screen, on the camera, I look, and there's two cars parked in the drive. And I'm like, those cars aren't there because my car is parked over, and they're definitely not there. I'm looking on the screen, and I can see somebody sat in one of the cars. The light's on in the car, and there's a man in the car.
Is this unusual for like your area, I guess?
Well, it's a private drive. It's in a private property.
Oh.
Yeah, man. I was freaking out. I look out the window and it's so dark. I can't see anything. But then I look back at the screen and I can see clearly this guy's car and the guy sitting in the car. I start to freak out. I don't know what to do. And then I sort of look at the picture closely and I say, he's being very still. Turns out Nuala had taken a photograph of whenever she was parked there and her boyfriend Shimmy parked in the other car, and there's a photograph which this was then stuck on the screen. So what was actually happening outside wasn't what was happening on the screen, and the noise was just the leaves, or the leaves blowing in the thing set off the alarm for about 5 minutes. 5 minutes, I was shitting myself.
Oh my God. And that was your entire week? Because that doesn't sound interesting.
No, that's just one thing. There's a little story. But then we had a CrossFit competition this weekend. So I obviously didn't take part, but I was judging.
Perving.
Well, you say that. So
And I mean it.
uh, there was some very handsome men there and some very attractive women. And
We're trying to be equal opportunities here.
this will make sense because one of the coaches, Andy, had said that he's like, sometimes I love my job. And because, he's straight and there's lots of pretty women about. And he goes, she's really hot. She's really hot. And I was like, oh, okay. He says, why am I telling you this? And I'm like, I have no idea. And then he goes, is there any guys here for you? And there was a guy stood over and he's like ripped. And he goes, I bet you him. And I go, no, do you know what? I don't like him.
You would never ask that question if he asked you that anyway.
Well, no, wait. I said, no, not him. And I was like, the guy's got a very chiseled body, but I was like, so he goes to the gym. What else has he got going in his life? He has nothing else going in his life if he looks that good. And he said, well, who is it? And I said, okay, well, after looking around, I said, probably that guy over there. And pointed to this guy. And that was all fine. They were like, okay, he's a bigger guy, hairier, but scruffier. And about an hour and a half later, I was out at the coffee van getting a coffee. And the hot guy, the guy I thought was hot, comes out behind me.
Nice.
And he was chatting to me, and he just said, "Oh," because he knew I was judging, and I knew he was taking part. And he goes, "You guys are putting on a really good competition. It's been really fun so far." And I go, "Oh, so are you enjoying it? Is this your first competition?" He's like, he doesn't do CrossFit, but he's a PT, and one of his clients has started CrossFit, and he wanted somebody to partner up with in this competition, so he volunteered. So anyway, long story short, he said that he's actually more of a power lifter than a CrossFitter. Then I said, oh, we're having a powerlifting competition here next week. Did you know about that, or are you entering? He's like, I didn't know about it. Is it too late to enter? And I go, well, Andy, the guy who owns our gym, he said he's organizing it, so I'll go and ask him if it's too late.
Beg him, you mean?
If it's too late for him to enter, please let him enter, Andy.
Please. Yes. This is my husband.
He doesn't know yet, but we're getting married. So I went to ask Andy, and Andy said, no, it's not too late to enter. So yeah. So then about half an hour later, I went back, said to the guy, oh, I just spoke to Andy. He says, totally fine to enter. You should really go and have a chat with him. He'll have no more details than me. Oh yeah, I forgot to say actually. Andy said back whenever he's like, yeah, no, not too late to enter. And he's like, you should get his number. And I said, would that not be a bit weird? And he goes, I mean for me. I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
I thought he meant that anyone would.
Well, yeah, no, well, anyway. So I go over and say, yes, not too late to enter. You should really go catch up with Andy if you can, just because he knows more than I do. And then he goes, well, can I just give you my number? And I was like, yeah. And then I looked for a piece of paper. He goes, I'll just put it in your phone. And he put his number in my phone. And then I fell in love.
Have you been texting ever since?
Of course not. I did text him to ask if he managed to catch up with Andy. And then, yeah, we chatted a little bit. But the guy's clearly straight. It's just frustrating, but it's straight. But he did text say, I'm going to come back over on the Sunday after church. So he went to church, came over on the Sunday.
Church? Oh,
listen,
man,
don't judge. No, it's not a turn off. Don't be silly. Gay people have faith too.
Pardon?
Not that he's gay, but people have faith. There's nothing wrong with having faith.
I don't have a problem with faith. I have a problem with the church. It's Catholic, right?
No, church is Protestant.
Oh, we've had these conversations. Anyway. So you got his number. So you got this guy's number.
I got a random straight guy's number, which is great for me.
Yeah.
Some action. And then I can't remember who I was talking about, but they're just saying how hard it must be to be gay in a small town where you don't know who's gay and who's straight, what signals are people just being friendly. You know, it's a bit frustrating.
That's what the PT said.
No, that's what somebody else was saying when I was telling them the story today.
Yeah, because everyone there's a lot of repression there, I guess, isn't it? And people might like men but still be with women.
Yeah, it's very common.
Okay,
I'm not saying this guy is like that.
I'm pretty certain you said you hoped that he would be.
Of course, I can hope.
Yeah,
But I'm not saying he is.
I hope he has some children as well. Did we have this conversation about daddies and how hot they are? Like actual daddies,
We've
like
never-
men with young children.
I think men with kids are instantly hotter.
Oh my god, infinitely hotter. It's just fucking sexy as hell when they've got young children. Oh my god. I don't know why, but it is.
No, I agree. But overall, the CrossFit competition was a great success.
I saw you got hammered. That's why we couldn't record yesterday.
Oh no, I didn't get hammered. I went out for 4 drinks. I went out for 4 drinks. It was good fun. I felt it this morning though. I can't lie. And we did this workout this morning, and around 3, I actually vomited in my mouth and swallowed it again because it was so intense.
That's good. You're like a bird.
a bird would feed it. A bird would feed it to his young. It would like,
I guess I like a reverse bird. A bee. You're like a bee, a wasp, or something.
I'm a bird that vomits to feed myself, just so I can eat twice.
Yeah. Well, I said last week was my birthday, so that was good.
Oh my god, I did wish you happy birthday. Yeah, I did.
So yeah, because you thought I turned like a lot older than I was, which is ridiculous.
Mm.
But yeah, I turned 31 on Thursday last week, so that was the day was a bit long actually. It was quite underwhelming. It's the first time that I've had like my birthday like not in a relationship, and it turns out when you're in a relationship, your birthdays are much better. You get gifts and stuff on the day.
Oh.
Yeah, I woke up to like nothing, and then was at work all day. I somehow woke up at like 5 in the morning and couldn't get back to sleep. Left the house at like 7 a.m. And just spent all day at work. Didn't finish till 6, which is weird for me because they're never that long. But then I went straight to JOI bar, JOI late. It's £2 a drink. Needless to say, I was a mess, which was wonderful.
Standard.
And then yeah, we went bowling. We had a bowling party on Saturday, so that was really good. Again, I was a mess. Really bad at bowling as well, which is a shame because I'm not normally that bad. I had a noteworthy date. Remember I told you?
Ooh.
On Friday, but he messaged me on Sunday just being like, I feel like we're more just like friends because we play board games. And I think I told you that earlier on. I didn't feel like there was anything in particular romantic about it. But you know what? It was a really nice day. So it's been a date that I've not been on many dates, I don't think. Or they always cancel. That was my problem, isn't it? They always cancel. But at least this one was he was a really nice guy. Had a lot of fun. Just wasn't really there, you know? But it's a good first step.
Yeah, no, totally. I always say, go out on as many dates as you can.
Yeah, let's keep at it. I say keep at it. I don't know what I'm looking for, but it's more just to, hook up.
Just go out and meet people.
Yeah,
meet people. If there's a connection there, it will spark. If it doesn't, you met somebody new. Are you going to be friends with this guy then?
I mean, people say that, but like, it's quite hard to sometimes, isn't it?
Well, you see, I don't like. Whenever I was dating in London, I didn't have enough time to see the friends I had.
Yeah.
So I don't need friends, mate. So go meet other people for friends. No, I don't. I'm wanting boom boom, not.
Well, see, I don't really want that. I think at the moment I wouldn't even mind some friends, just because like the friends that I do have all moved away. So I need to sort of spread my wings, and I've been saying that for a bit. And
you have no friends. You've never had friends.
It's true. No one likes me. No one actually likes me. So I agree. I'll put it out there. No one likes me. I didn't go on a date. I went to the pub by myself, played a board game by myself, and that was it.
Oh.
Yeah.
I want to just pat your head.
My big forehead because I got a haircut. And my barber now keeps giving me this really nice thin little R&B mustache beard combo, which I'm actually digging. So it's nice.
Yeah, you look like George. You look like George Michael
with a tan.
Well, yeah, if George Michael was black, then he'd look like that, I guess.
Yeah, so I got one of those things. But yeah, before I'd be like, oh, I don't know if I want it, but now I'm like, okay, I like it now.
Nah, it looks good. It suits you.
So why don't we get into our topics?
Yeah.
Well, it's one particular topic, I guess, isn't it?
It's one topic, yeah.
So this Saturday, the
1st of December.
December,
Yep.
is World AIDS Day. So it's, I didn't realize this. You know, I didn't know anything about this. I didn't realize that it was the 1st of December every year. Did you?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Do you know much about how long this has been running, or?
I don't know much. I don't know much about the day, no, but I do support it as well as I can.
Yeah. And remember last week I told you about the play that I went to see called The Inheritance.
Mm-hmm.
It was quite interesting to me because it was about America. Well, it's based in America, pardon me, and it talks about gay issues within America, and it spoke about like the sort of AIDS epidemic in the 80s.
Yep.
And I didn't want to speak about it last week just because we said we'd speak about this week because it's quite a prominent thing, I'd say, within the country and within our community, the LGBT community.
Yeah.
It's definitely a big issue actually within African Americans as well. I don't know if you're aware, but
Yeah.
you're more likely to contract HIV and subsequently AIDS if you're an African American.
No, I don't think you're more likely to get it. I just think
There's a higher percentage of people, not more
yeah,
likely. I mean,
yeah, you won't get. You're not because you're black. You're not going to get it more often. It's just,
no, I think that's sickle cell disease.
It seems it doesn't focus. It's not a racist disease that focuses on black.
No. Yeah,
It's a nasty cunt of a disease that focuses on everyone.
yeah.
I did know it was sadly more common with black people.
I think just in America. I don't know whether it's the same here though. I don't know if you know with African Americans in particular.
I know in America it's more African Americans. I mean, is African Americans the right word?
For African
black people,
so.
I don't think it is. I think just black Americans are. It's very high numbers there.
I think it's got something to do with just like, you know, as in America more so than maybe here, although there is an aspect of it. There's still a lot of people not able to come out within their environments, their communities and their families because, you know, being gay and being black is not really a thing. So people finding ways to like, you know, meet men in places that aren't necessarily as safe as they could be and not practicing safety all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. And also beyond the gay world, there's needle sharing in drugs.
Oh my
Obviously.
God.
You knew that, didn't you?
Yeah, I just don't really think about it, to be honest. So I can't say that. I mean, I don't know about you and yourself, but I've not really had much, I would say, exposure to people that I know with HIV. And if I think more and more every day, there's people that have it, but I've also not really educated myself too much. I've never really had any experiences with those incredibly close to me that have had it or that I've known that they've had it, you know? And I've never really researched. I think it's really important for me to sort of, and others actually, to research and understand a bit more about it.
Yeah. I mean, I know quite a lot.
Really?
Well, I wouldn't say I know all there is. I think there's so much to know that it's hard to say you know all about it. But I've been well educated in a good bit of it. So,
how did you research yourself, or did you? Know
a bit. I was with somebody who was HIV positive.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. And I guess in that instance, then you really you want to try and understand a bit more about it, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, you do. And it was this one person who actually educated me a lot, in a very open and like friendly manner. We just talked about it. It was very interesting.
I was thinking about how I would be on, I don't know, a date. If someone hadn't said, you know, I was chatting to them on an app or something, and they said we meet up, and they say to me that they are HIV positive, and if I'm completely honest, I know that it would make me like stutter. I don't know a better word of saying it, but I would definitely, you know, double back and just it would take me back. I know that it wouldn't be seamless because I've never really experienced it before. Yeah, but I would want to find out a bit more about, I guess, the individual. I don't think it was from doing anything or continuing dating someone. But it's never happened to me. It's happened to me once actually. I realized on one of the only hookups I've ever been on actually. They messaged me and said like they're HIV positive, and
before or after?
Before. And I don't know whether it's the right thing to do or not, because he wanted to have like penetrative sex. But at the time, and this was quite a few years ago, I didn't feel comfortable if I'd never, because I'd never, it was someone, it was a hookup. It wasn't like I'd met and had a conversation. I didn't feel comfortable um, having penetrative sex. Mostly, I guess, because I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah, I think I think it's I think it's a normal reaction. Like I don't think you. I think I don't know. I think it's a normal reaction to be like that. I know other people who's been in the exact same boat and had a bit of a. You just want to know more about, and that's what in the conversation I had, it was explained to me that this person was on medicine that they take regularly, and that means that they cannot pass on the HIV virus on to anyone else, even if there was unprotected sex. Obviously, you'd still wear protection because there's other things you can catch, but yeah, I'm just saying that even if there was no condom used, as long as the person is continuously taking the medicine, then you should be fine. No, it comes down to, I think if you skip your medicine one day, or if you skip it twice, I think it's fine if you, as long as I'm not too sure, but the recommendation is that you take it every day. Otherwise, the risk gets higher. But then you have to kind of consider you're putting yourself at risk based on what they're telling you, and you're not there to sit and make sure they're taking the meds. You have to just trust them. So that's why, in my opinion, even though they are saying that they're taking tablets, I would always still recommend a condom.
Like you say, there's other STIs and things, other things that you might be able to get with unprotected sex. I have researched, I really should have actually before this, was more a bit about PEP and PrEP in general, because I guess we kind of spoken about it a bit earlier on, but I think that there's a bit more. Well, apparently everyone's on it as well. We were talking about this. I've been speaking to a couple of people, and then someone was like, "Oh, I just thought everyone was on it," and I was like, "You know what? I never even thought about it once I broke up. Once I became single, to start taking it. But I guess I don't know. I guess I should. Really?
Yeah. So for those who don't know, PEP. I don't know the actual chemical name, but PEP is a drug that if you feel you've had exposure, or if you have had a risk of being exposed to somebody who's HIV positive, and you feel you might have contracted it, you'd go to your sexual health clinic and you'd get PEP, which is I think a 28-day course of medicines. You take 3 tablets a day. And then PrEP, PrEP, is something that you would take daily as well. And this is somebody who's HIV negative would take it daily, and that would mean they can't catch HIV from somebody who has HIV positive. Yeah. I've been on PEP.
When you were in London?
Yeah, it was the time we went to Nashville.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had to take it whilst in Nashville.
You thought you might have been exposed to it?
Yep.
Oh my God.
It was back in 2016, which was my year of the slut, and I was with somebody, and unfortunately the condom broke, and we had the conversation before. They said they're HIV negative. I said I was HIV negative, and I just you never know. So I just was like, I'm going to get the tablets anyway, just to be safe than sorry. So.
Well, it's definitely important, I guess, to, check, take precautions, be as safe as possible, I guess. I feel like, I don't think I take enough care. This is making me a bit concerned now.
Well, I have to say, until I had this conversation with my friend who told me all about the HIV and the medicines today, I was the same. I was like, oh my goodness, I live in a little bubble where I don't think it's around.
I want to think like it's when we went to see the play, the audience there were a lot of older men who I'm going to assume were gay because they were in pairs, but it seemed like the majority of the audience were people part of the LGBT society, like community,
Yeah.
and they were talking about literally like there was a deep bit about the people dying in the epidemic and stuff, and people were so emotional. And I don't know if there's still a stigma about people contracting HIV or having it, and being afraid to interact. Do you think there's still something around that, even within like your local community, not so much say the world, because I don't know if it's the same if you're in I don't know, a third world country or something, but or a place that has less resources to look after those who have contracted any illnesses. But do you think there's still some sort of stigma around HIV?
I do think there is. It's because it's scary because it's uncurable. Even though you can treat it and you can control it, you can't cure it. And even though today we're lucky enough to have it in a place where the medicines that people who have HIV can take can live completely healthy lives, and I just think it's sort of like, I don't know if we're still in it now, actually, as in 2018, but we're very recently just out of it if we're not still in it. But you could never have a gay storyline on TV without there being like an HIV risk. Do you know what I mean? Like, any gay character at some point would have had a HIV risk.
Do you think so?
I think it has to be. There's always like a coming out, or there's always this big drama around something being gay in TV, and it's usually HIV or it's usually coming out. And I think it's those type of stories that, if that's the only exposure to being gay there is on TV, it sort of keeps those sort of stigmas relevant. I do think there is still stigma, but I also do think it's down to uneducation.
Oh, absolutely. Even just reading up today before this, and then I'm probably sounding like someone who's ill-informed, and I haven't really researched loads, but even just the bits that I've read today, it's so manageable, isn't it? It's so manageable, and understanding it has made me feel really comfortable overall about, I remember, when you go for a HIV, you go for your tests and stuff, the prick tests.
Little blood test.
Yeah, there's always that time, even now, like if I feel fine now, and then I have the test, and that like 10 or 15 minute wait you have.
Oh, it's seconds now. You wait like seconds. They prick your blood and they put it in the little thing, and you literally
it changes and they just shake it.
Yeah, they shake it, and you get, I think it's 2 dots or 1 dot.
Then I remember how I felt when it used to be the 15-minute one, and also even just that time, just as they're taking the blood and I'm getting ready, there is suddenly like, oh my god, what if?
Yeah.
But I was just reading up about the steps you go through if you're diagnosed, and how often you're checked, and the kind of medicine that you'll take, and it was all very reassuring. Although it doesn't say like it was purely factual, but it seemed very manageable and reasonable for, say, my lifestyle and where I live to still take care of myself.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say it's a good thing, like, but one of the good things today is that, like I said, you're able to control it. You're able to have a normal lifestyle, and you're able to have a healthy lifestyle, and because of the medicines, there's a lot less AIDS-related deaths. So, do you know the difference between HIV and AIDS?
HIV is the potential to have AIDS. Like, you don't have the disease.
Yeah.
You
have the virus. So yeah. HIV is the virus.
But then if you have AIDS, that's actually when your immune system starts to fail.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I can't remember the term they use to describe HIV, but it's basically, it progresses, and it's done by the count of, I think it's H something, or something H is in your blood per milliliter. And as it gets more and more,
I thought it was called CD4.
Oh, it could be that.
CD4 cell count, it says.
I just have notes. Yeah, it's the cell count, and basically the higher cell count. I think when you get to stage 4, it's considered AIDS, but we don't have very many people here in the UK getting to stage 4 anymore.
Well, apparently it's your CD4 cell count that drops, so your viral load will increase and the cell count will drop.
I'm totally wrong. Don't listen to me.
Yeah.
In the UK in 2009, in 2017, there's 89,000 people living with HIV, and 4,363 people were new HIV infections, and there's 428 AIDS-related deaths
In the UK, did you say?
in the UK. Yeah,
Okay. 428 is still quite a high number.
it is quite high.
But I guess not considering the number of people that actually have contracted the disease. Plus, you still need to be on the medicine, really, isn't it? I think there's maybe a number of people that might catch it late or, not getting checked regularly.
What's it?
I'm
You need
now
to get
worrying
checked
about how
regularly.
regularly I'm getting checked, even though I pretty much barely have sex.
Well, it's the type of thing where you don't get any symptoms from you get HIV, and you can go up to 10 years without actually realizing you have HIV.
I thought you had like flu-like symptoms, but like quite strongly.
No, I think people get the flu. I don't think it shows any symptoms. Again, I'm sure that we're going to be wrong on some of these things, and we're trying to be as knowledgeable as we can. But if we are wrong and people out there do know, do let us know, and we will correct ourselves in the next episode.
Well, I guess I don't really have sort of a point for this. I just know that I need to do more research because, not even research, actually. That's a lie. I just need to be more proactive when it comes to getting checked. And I think because I'd only relate myself to say like other people and the amount of sex that I have, right? Which I will put out there is not very high in what I believe, right? But I can't just be sort of like reactive. It still needs to be like a regular check, almost like a habit to make sure that I go and get checked regularly just because, because some things can take a while to show, even if it is like immediately after, intercourse in some way.
I think you have to. It takes a few weeks to show in your system, doesn't it? So if you think you've had exposure or contact with somebody who might have, had it, I think I've seen it defined as intimate contact with somebody who there's a chance that there's HIV. You should get yourself on PEP, because it's not like, again, not just saying in obviously passing of blood or semen, but also breastfeeding is another way to pass on HIV. Sharing needles, which is obviously if you're sharing needles with a partner, then you're at risk. And it's not just gay guys who have anal sex. Anyone who has anal sex is at risk. If anybody who has vaginal sex is at risk. It's the tissue in the bum is more.
Did you know what it was first called? Like in the 80s? And I saw it on Grey's Anatomy, my fave show.
The gay cancer.
Yeah, they were like terms that you use, but it was called GRID, which was called gay-related immune deficiency system. That's what it was termed. That's what the actual term was. But it was changed like shortly after that. But I didn't realize that that's what it's called for a while. That's what it initially was introduced as.
I'm trying to find I didn't actual GRID. I never heard. Oh yes, gay-related immune deficiency.
Well, I just thought that gay-related was just a bit cray-cray, isn't it? Just to assume that it was only like the fact that that is only related to gay people. And that's not the case necessarily, is it? Well, or not at all, in fact.
No, it's not. It's again, it's not a racist virus targeting black people, and it's not a homophobic virus targeting gay people. It just so happens that gay people, and it seems people of color are more common to get it. I've read why for being gay, because the tissues in the muscle or the tissues in the bum are different than tissues in the vagina. The fluid, semen, is stronger than vaginal fluid, and gay men are more
promiscuous.
Did
you know that the rules are changed about? I didn't realize that the rules are changed about giving blood.
I don't know that. No.
How long?
Are we allowed to give blood? I think you can't unless you have had sex in a year.
It's changed. Well, it says now there's a 3 months deferral period.
The fact there's any deferral period is crazy. 3 months, everybody's like, "Oh, it's good you got 3 months." It's like, no, it's not. It's pointless. All blood is screened anyway. All blood is screened.
Even though all blood is screened, there still is a risk it can still pass through or be missed, right? So it's trying to say that it will reduce the risk by having these. And I understand what you're saying, but I think that it's an improvement from 10 years to 1 year to 3 months, though. I think that's a good thing. It is in reaction to people saying that it is a homophobic rule, or that, because of all the screening and stuff like that, it's very quality. So I actually think it's a good thing, although, it's closer and closer if you think about it in the steps that last year. Although it's not the same for Northern Ireland. It literally says 3 months except for Northern Ireland.
Yeah, well, do you know there's over 10,000 people in the UK who do not know that they're HIV positive? So
how do they assume that?
They go off stats, I guess. This is from Terence Higgins Trust. Over 10,000 people are undiagnosed. They do not know they're HIV positive. And of the 5,164 people diagnosed with HIV in the UK in 2016, 54% were gay or bisexual men. So the split isn't as gay men versus straight as you might think. Of the 2,110 heterosexual people diagnosed with HIV, 39% were Black African men and women.
And apparently the number of diagnoses have been going down, actually, yeah? Which is a good thing.
Which is, yeah, because the PrEP coming in. So it is good. It is good.
Isn't there an overall idea that if you do like PrEP and PEP long enough, that it might be eradicated? Although that's a world problem, and I can't imagine that those resources are available for everyone, especially because it's quite expensive if you're thinking about exporting to, places within Africa and things like that, for everyone to be able to be on these sort of medicines.
Yeah. I guess in theory you would assume that now we have the drug that can control it over generations, it should hopefully drastically reduce it.
Well, that's once you contract it, but if you don't get it because you're on PrEP and then no one does eventually, then potentially there could be something that gets rid of it all, I guess.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Anyway, it does just get you thinking, really, isn't it? I'm glad I'm talking about it in this podcast, and that I don't think I would have paid attention to the day on Saturday and actually making sure. I don't know why. It's really bad, actually. But it does really get you thinking, to be honest, doesn't it? About just taking care of yourself, but also it is completely manageable, but also trying to avoid risks and making sure you're checked regularly is so important. It's so important. It's crazy.
I mean, on a personal level, it is important. I also think there's an importance to try and get rid of a lot of the taboo around HIV now. I know back in years gone by, it was people thought looking at somebody with HIV or sitting next to them or kissing them or whatever, you would have got HIV, but that's not the case.
Well, that's why I want to know if that's still around. I guess it's so difficult for me, I'd say sometimes in London, to understand what is actually happening outside of this big old city, you know?
Well, for anybody who's wondering, you cannot get HIV. Well, no. There is an extremely unlikely chance you'll get HIV from kissing anybody. There's been, I think, one case where they've said that it's been transmitted, and that's because both parties had very bleedy gums. And yeah, and I always remember whenever I became a student and I was fresh on the gay scene, one of the bits of the advice that was given to me by my friend was to, if you hook up with somebody and bring them back to your house, you might be tempted to brush your teeth, but do not brush your teeth.
I had this. I knew this.
Chew some gum. Yeah, because, you might be doing something and you don't want to have a little exposed gum.
Well, just brushing your teeth is supposed to leave just tiny little incisions throughout your mouth and stuff. So it is, it is important not to do that. I remember hearing that when I was younger. But I was interested. I didn't realize. Maybe I did remember that you previously had a relationship, and I think that one of my friends had helped me out when I had some questions to ask, because I think it's important to ask questions, but sometimes I don't know if I'd feel comfortable. Say if I was out on a date with someone, they'd said it. I don't know how comfortable I'd be to ask questions, because I don't want to encroach on anyone's personal information. But I guess if someone discloses it to you and is open to you, that you think it's fair to ask questions then and there?
I would say it's fair. I I mean, if they've said to you, I mean, first of all, I think it's fair. I think it's fair to ask, because when I would meet up with somebody, I would ask their status just off the bat. Not like, hey, I'm Ashley, what's your status? But I'd work it into the conversation somehow.
Really?
Yes, I don't want to be sleeping with
You'd
somebody whose
ask
status
the
I don't know.
question.
Yeah. You never ask
Okay.
somebody who you hook up with if what their status is? It's an uncomfortable question, but
I have never asked that.
well,
I don't think I would.
I have a few times.
Because you thought there was a reason why you might need to ask?
Well, no, just out of safety reasons, just look after myself.
No, I don't think I would ask that. I think I would just kind of ask. I don't know what I would ask, because I wouldn't ask about how they contracted. I don't think that's important for like a
No,
relevant.
you don't need to know that. That's
Yeah, I don't think that's relevant.
unless
Completely. But or maybe I'll just be a bit open about, like, I guess my experiences, and saying that I don't have much.
yeah, I think if you were to meet somebody who's told you their status is positive, I think you should let them know your concerns or questions, or in your case, lack of knowledge around it, or lack of, I wouldn't say experience. It's not like you need to build experience, but lack of experience. I don't know what to
I think
say.
it is experience. I'll be honest. I think it is experience. I'm not, it's only one person that has openly said it to me. One out of everyone. Yeah, it's not many. I don't think I have concerns, though. I'll be honest. Yeah, I don't think I have concerns. No. Except for, I guess, viral load is quite important. I guess, is that a reasonable question to ask about what someone's viral load is or has been?
What do you mean?
Well, people get checked to see where they're at and if they're undetectable or not. I don't know, is it worth knowing whether someone is undetectable or not?
Yeah, definitely. I'd ask that. But again, you're going off somebody else's word.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, the reason I asked was more peace of mind. And it was, I wouldn't say every single person I've ever hooked up with, I said, what's your status? There's certain things were guaranteed to go a certain way. I would ask.
I've never done that.
I've been asked.
You've been asked?
Yeah.
I think I've been asked on apps, maybe.
But that's
I don't know.
the problem, you see, because if it's okay to do it on apps, it's okay to do it in real life. It's just I think it's the uncomfortableness of asking somebody such a personal question, which that's why on a lot of the apps they have a status thing there.
It's so interesting. I don't know if I would ask. It's never crossed my mind.
Well, put it like the way I looked at it, which is why I ask now, is if you don't ask, you're relying on them to tell you, and you don't know what type. This is a person you might have just met. You don't know this person.
For sure.
So ask is what I would say. But that's just me. I've got one of those personalities where I'm a straight shooter.
But it's interesting that you do. I think it's quite interesting. It's just never crossed my mind. It's not something that I've ever really thought about to ask, to be honest. I guess I just sometimes I can be quite naive to assume that people would just say the truth to me, which isn't always the case, I guess.
I guess it depends on what's going to happen, doesn't it? In your night of passion, because somebody might not want to tell you that's why I say, if I know it's going to go a certain way, I'll ask. But if I know we're just going to, kiss and cuddle, I'm not going to, do it. It's not my business.
But then I was thinking, like not worst case scenario, but like dark rooms and saunas and things like that. There's not even conversations.
Yeah, well, that's the risk that people take. Like, it's not where. Well, I'm not judging anyone, but it's not where I go, and it's because I don't want to take that risk. I don't find that sexually doing it for me, and I don't do it.
What I have done this year, I would say for sure. And
in the dark room,
I've been in a dark room, is what I'm saying.
I have never been in.
That's rubbish.
I've never been in.
That's bullshit.
Have I been in a few?
No, I wouldn't go in there with you. You crazy?
No, but I'm saying you've never seen me in a, because I've never been in one.
What? Okay.
Never.
Well, I most certainly have, but then it's maybe I just make stupid mistakes, but things just get out of hand sometimes, you know.
You get
Um,
caught up in the passion and you're the sweat and the rubbing.
that sounds gross, actually, but yeah, you know, just it's so hard for me, like if I'm drinking and stuff, to just remain like somewhat sensible, I guess.
Yeah. I
Um,
nearly went to a sauna once. Nearly. Well, I know I went, but I got turned away.
you got turned away. Why?
It was lesbian night.
Oh, there's like three people in there,
It was empty.
all knitting or
Um,
something.
me and me and a couple of friends were going after a club. This was when I was a student in Leeds, and they're like, "Oh, we should go just for the fun." And I was like, oh, "No." I put it on, like I said no like 100 times, and I said, "Right, okay, we'll go this night." And we went. Like the lady answered the door. She's like, "Sorry, love, lesbian night," and I'm like, "Oh, there we go. It's a sign."
I was like that about a fetish club once. Me and my friend were drinking in Vauxhall, and then it was like 2:30, 3 o'clock, and we were like, "Should we go to there?" And he's like, "No," and then he's like, "Okay." And then we had a drinks, and then we went to there, and they were like, "Oh my god, I can't believe we're going," because like you just basically like get rid of all your clothes before you even walk in.
Oh,
Got to the door, and they were like, um, "No one's allowed in." We were like, "Oh my god, thank God." Because we would have done it as well. I just got completely naked.
oh, so
Anyway,
beautiful.
yeah, no, there's not really an end to this, is there?
Well, I think there is. I think first of all, for you, you need to educate yourself more.
I think so. Regularly do so, yeah, absolutely.
And I think everyone out there who needs to educate themselves a bit more if they're unknowing, because I think if you unknow, you make assumptions, and you might jump to the wrong assumption. So better educate yourself or ask questions. For me, it's don't ask straight boys for numbers.
There's no reason, especially if you're in Limavady, they're never truly straight or gay. To be honest, you
That's
never
true.
know.
You never know. But I think from a message point of view, I think definitely get tested regularly. Know what you know, and know what you don't know, so you can learn. I have to say, honestly, my having the conversation with my friend who educated me about um, prep and pep and how he couldn't transmit the change the way I looked at it, because I knew this person before, like we'd gone on a couple of dates, loosely say dates, and I had no idea. And then we just sat down one night and talked about it, and I was like, "Oh wow!" And it was what amazed me was in my head I had all these preconceptions of what type of person I thought would be HIV positive, and it turns out I was totally wrong about everything, and it was a real reality check for me because I was just proven wrong, and I was like, "Wow, this is amazing," and I'm eternally grateful to that person for educating me.
I think that's really
So.
important. I've never really taken the opportunity to speak to anyone who is positive, to be honest. So,
Mm.
well, no, you're not going to reach out, but I think take those opportunities to ask some questions with people that you trust and that you know. That's me because I've never taken that opportunity, even if I know that someone is openly HIV positive. I've never asked them any questions. And if I want to learn something, I think that there's something in there where I can, you know, I'd hope.
Yeah. But everybody has their own story to tell as well, and I don't think, like you said, I don't think you need to, or anyone listening, when I'm saying ask questions, you don't need to understand. I can't think of a reason why you'd ever have to understand how they got it.
No,
Um, I mean, I found out, not I, the guy who was telling me told me everything, and I was like, well, fair enough. That's it for me. This is really. We need to let's tell us a funny story. What did you get up to? We need to end on a high. We're not going to finish on a.
a funny story.
Hmm. Somebody messaged me saying they like my giggle on the podcast.
Your giggle?
Yeah.
Did you think they meant me?
No, they definitely said me. Look, we posted, right? We all me, you, and Honest to Pod all posted about asking questions before. Did you get any questions through?
I don't think I did. But we just build the habit. We'll keep on asking. And then eventually we'll get there.
Yeah, no, we'll keep asking.
Well, actually, I hope you have a lovely week.
Yeah, you too. Yeah. Ooh, there's a very muscular picture of Brian Sims on his Instagram. Here, can you see it?
And I will see you later. Is that his arm on the right?
That's his arm.
Oh, wow. Brian Sims is amazing, isn't he?
Just what can't he do?
You should message him.
No.
He responded once before. He might respond again. Although I feel like he'd be busy around all the election type things.
He's responded twice before, but yeah, I think he's responded to two messages. I wouldn't say we're quite BFFs just yet, but I imagine he's really busy because he just got elected.
Yeah, for sure.
But what can I say?
Why don't you round us out?
Right. Okay. Thanks everyone for listening. Been an awesome week. Make sure you go and show some support. Donate some money to World AIDS Day and get yourself a little red ribbon. They helps go into research and support for everyone affected with HIV. And yeah, hopefully we can end the horrible virus that is HIV. But we look forward to asking more questions and hear what you guys have to say. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, where you can ask us questions where we post it up. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and just overall have a really amazing week. Until next week.
Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.